Hello everybody, welcome back to Screenstars. I'm here today to bring you my review for the 2012 film Lawless. The film is directed by John Hillcoat and it stars Tom Hardy, Shia LaBeouf, Guy Pearce, Jason Clarke, Jessica Chastain, Dane DeHaan and Gary Oldman. Right, the film is based on true life events. It's set in America, in the South, at the time of the Prohibition era. Alcohol is illegal, and there is a group of brothers. We've got Forrest, played by Tom Hardy. We've got Jack, played by Shia LaBeouf, and we've got Howard, played by Jason Clarke. And they are bootleggers, essentially. They are making alcohol, selling it, and making quite a lot of money from it. They are then told in no uncertain terms by the local law that they have to start playing ball and give them a slice of the pie, so to speak. And a new special deputy has been brought in, Charlie Rakes, played by Guy Pearce, to try and enforce this. But the brothers are having none of it. This essentially leads to war between the brothers and the local law enforcement. Right, what are my thoughts on Lawless? Now, this is I said this before. I think it was when I did my top 10 Tom Hardy films that I think this is quite an underrated Tom Hardy film. It's a really, really very well made film that is based on true life events. How true all of this is up for debate, because any Hollywood film has probably taken liberties with quite a few aspects of the story, I suspect. But at the end of the day, what we have here is a really well put together film that plays around with a few different genres, but does it quite well. It's a period drama. It feels very authentic. The time period that it's set in, sort of thing. The clothes that they're wearing, the cars that they're driving. The era that they're living in. It all feels very, very authentic and grounded in that approach. And then laid on top of that is this thriller aspect of the film, of this conflict between the Bondurant brothers, played by Hardy, Shia LaBeouf and Jason Clarke, and the law enforcement, and in particular Guy Pearce's character, Charlie Rakes, who is a particularly nasty character. Tom Hardy, who's the leader, will not bend. He will not break. He will not compromise. He will not give them a taste of what he sees a piece of his own hard work. He won't do that. Whereas everybody else in the district has kind of bent to their will, sort of thing. And these are the only guys left standing. So it's quite a gritty and grimy thriller at times. There is gunplay here and there, not a great deal. There is violence here and there, which is quite graphic at times, but it's not frequent. It's got everything kind of littered in at the right times to keep you interested in the film, interested in the outcome for the brothers, for everybody else involved, sort of thing, what it's kind of gonna lead to for these characters. You want to see other characters get their comeuppance, like the Guy Pearce character. We get some romance angles here. Jessica Chastain is the romance angle for Tom Hardy's character. We've got Mia Wasilowski, I believe she's called. She's like the love interest for Shia LaBeouf's character. So you've got these storylines and plot lines that are kind of shooting off throughout the film as well, that kind of, you could argue, slow the film down, but the film is never trying to be an action thriller. It's trying to tell a narrative, tell a story, and it doesn't rush to do that. It's never in a rush to do that. It just kind of lets the story breathe, and you kind of come along as a passenger to kind of enjoy it, sort of thing. In regards to issues with the film, well, I think some people may have issue with the pacing. Some people may go into this thinking it's going to be like a dark, grimy, like mob thriller, and it's not. You know, it's not like that at all, really. There is like a very like sprinkling of that, obviously going on in it, but most of that kind of comes from Gary Oldman's perspective, who's in the film, but he's not in it a great deal. In fact, for Gary Oldman, he's massively underused in this film, in my opinion. So yeah, I mean, a lot of people are a bit like Marmite when it comes to Shia LaBeouf. I think there's no doubt that this guy's got talent. I think that's been proven. We also know that he's got obviously quite a spiky personality. You know, there was reports at the time that he got into a fight with Tom Hardy on set. That's kind of been dismissed as like play fighting, I suppose. I'm not sure if that's the right word, but he's definitely got talent. You know what I mean? He does a good job, and he actually gets top billing here, Shia LaBeouf, which is fair enough because he is probably the central character here. He's the one that goes on the biggest journey from like the youngest brother who's desperate to help his older brothers and get involved to almost becoming the ideas man and almost the leader at times. You know what I mean? So I think this is, as I've said, I think it's an underrated film. I think it's got some very, very good performances. It's got a fantastic cast. I mean, Tom Hardy always delivers in these roles. You do see now a lot of mannerisms, however, and that Tom Hardy does in roles like this, that you kind of see him do in similar roles in Peaky Blinders and that kind of stuff, the little grunts that he does and, you know, that kind of stuff. I've seen it many times now. It's almost like Jeff Bridges, you know, he's got that voice that he does whenever he does someone from the South. He's done it over and over and over again. It's almost Tom Hardy kind of does the same stick. Now, this isn't a criticism of his acting because we all know that Tom Hardy is a very, very good actor. But he's got the least to do with this film in regards to acting. He just kind of looks quite stoic and says very little and grunts here and there. And Jason Clarke's character, Howard, is the muscle, really. He just plays this giant of a man that beats the crap out of anybody that crosses his family or insults his family or whatever. You know what I mean? He's very, very aggressive in that front. So he's like the enforcer. So you've got these three brothers all with different skill sets that kind of bounce well off each other when they work as a team. Like I said, you've got the love interest from Jessica Chastain. Now, she was the only one that I felt seemed a little bit out of place in the film. I don't know why. I can't really put my finger on it, but she just didn't seem to fit the role for me or the film. It's not a criticism of her or her acting because she's a very good actress. Guy Pearce plays a really fantastic villainous character here, this Charlie Rakes, who carries a badge, but in many, many ways, he's the real villain of the piece here. And that is really not up for debate. He's an absolute piece of garbage. So if you've never seen Lawless, it's definitely one to check out. It's one of those that is based on a true story. So it's interesting, one of those to maybe research after you've watched the film to kind of get the real truths of what happened to these. Sometimes I do that when I watch like a film that's based on a true story. I will sometimes research and, you know, find out for myself what actually happened. But yeah, this is one that I do recommend you check if you've never seen it. It's a very well-made film. It doesn't elevate itself to like classic status or anything like that, but it does deserve to be seen for how well it's been made, how well the story is told, and for the really strong cast that we've got here. So yeah, thanks for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed checking out this review. I will, of course, be back with plenty more content on the channel very, very soon.